Hello. I was up at 4:30 this morning and I started thinking about how to provide a survival blueprint that can be initiated by all governments, all businesses, and us as a society to show what is possible through thoughtful process. And here it is. Now, I offer this blueprint to instill order, confidence, and as a survival guide to help us navigate this pandemic and, more importantly, come out of the other side stronger, more cohesive, and as a cooperative society. And let me tell you that cooperation is the operative word here. And most importantly, I'm doing this video to save the world from looting, rioting, chaos, and imploding upon itself. To be clear, it is not that difficult to prevent anarchy if we learn to cooperate with each other on all levels. And when I say all levels, that includes all government, all big business, and us. So here I go. And I'm sure that I'm going to miss some points. So if you have some suggestions, please feel free to add the comments below. I believe all vital services like water, hydro, gas, mobile, cable, and the internet must continue to be given to all users without interruptions, and all payments suspended until the pandemic is contained. I also believe all financial institutions such as banks, trusts, mortgage, and insurance companies all need to suspend taking individual payments until this pandemic is contained. And they can simply add additional months at the end of the term. Credit card companies need to suspend all interest on purchases, immediately lower fees to merchants, and quickly extend credit to those that qualify. Again, once the pandemic is over, offer an extended period of time to pay back the purchases with, say, a minimal interest of 1 to 3%. I also believe that banks need to allow the setup of online bank accounts for everybody, and the governments need to deposit money for food, medicines, and essentials directly into those accounts, and those accounts need to be accessible online. Now, for those that don't have a computer or mobile access, I believe companies like Rogers, TELUS, etc. can supply old stocks of phones and get a credit from the government. And the government can create safe zones and give access to libraries and government offices for people to access computers and their online accounts. I also believe that all landlords for both commercial and residential need to suspend rents and monthly expenses to tenants. They will be able to do so because most monthly expenses they will incur have been covered by my above suggestions. Other expenses, and there will be others, will be talked about in a moment. Now, I believe this must happen until the pandemic is contained. I also believe that vital services must remain open, such as hospitals, policing, emergency services, pharmacies, health supplement stores, delivery services, restaurants for takeout food, etc. And to be able to do this, society and big business will need to rely on governments to make smart decisions. And businesses will need to accept the decisions of governments and, I believe, this blueprint. The governments will need to designate and pay monthly amounts to the businesses to specifically, and I say specifically, cover the vital services needed by society. This means big business gets what they want, a continuous flow of money. Society gets what they want, a continuous flow of services, and the government gets to save lives, the infrastructure, and still have a functioning society when this pandemic is contained. The government and big business will need to continue to employ people to man the vital services mentioned earlier. That means those employed will be at a higher risk. Therefore, I believe they should be paid more money. Additionally, the employees need to take significant precautions to help prevent the continued spread of the coronavirus. To make this happen, the governments will need to pay the big businesses the money they need to staff the vital services. All the monies given by governments, again, must be earmarked and not simply given as a handout or a blank check. Additionally, to further help the curb of the coronavirus, employers will need to test vital employees daily, allowing them to work. Restaurants will need to check all staff before entering the workplace, and all emergency and healthcare workers will need to be checked before entering their workplace of employ. That means we will need many more test packets than originally thought, because we need to ensure these groups are tested regularly and are safe. This, I believe, is of critical importance to slow the rate of infections and to level that curve. Now, I believe this needs to happen because handing out $1,000 or $2,000 a month to people isn't going to help if the monthly expenses exceed the amount that is being given. Everybody has different expense needs. Therefore, I believe by suspending all payments, nobody is left in need and everybody is given an opportunity to get through this without further suffering. I also believe the governments need to provide for the homeless by ensuring food, clothing, and shelter. And they can start by utilizing many of the hotels and the tens of thousands of vacant apartments they own. There are enough empty dwellings to provide for all the homeless people in our society. There also needs to be things that we must do as a society to help prevent the spread and to cooperatively do our part, beginning with not having public gatherings of any size, because I believe a gathering of more than one can continue the spread of this virus, and the spread needs to be stopped. We must do this until the individuals have been quarantined for the mandatory amount of time and show no symptoms. Once they are symptom-free, we should be able to socialize with loved ones or friends who have also been cleared, or people who live in a small community or in a high-rise like I do. I also believe that all travel of any kind needs to be banned until the antibody is found, and that includes international, domestic, and even inner-city travel, until the virus has an antidote and is contained. By doing so, we will eliminate the need for draconian measures such as useless fines and senseless imprisonments by governments. Those that have been cured and not at risk of catching the virus can be reintroduced back into society, and they can help those most in need. Lastly, we as a society must immediately recognize that the world as we knew it will be different on the other side of this pandemic. Many of the jobs you had will not be available to you. More jobs will be assigned to people to work from home, and many, many more jobs will be eliminated due to technology. This may be the moment you've been waiting for. Use this time wisely. Look elsewhere for an income and ways to support you and your family. That means thinking like an entrepreneur, looking for a home-based business opportunity, learning a new niche craft, getting training for a trade, provide an online service, find a passion that people will want to pay for. You need to get ready for different. I believe implementing all these measures will be great for governments, big business, and society at large. And here's why I say that. Big business, who is vital to providing food and services, will continue to enjoy an income and maintain operations. Society will be able to maintain their way of living and be provided with food, clothing, and shelter while we battle through this pandemic. And lastly, the governments will still have an infrastructure that is intact and a society ready to do what is needed to maintain order once this pandemic is over. Many of us will be facing a paradigm shift in everything we do. The way we shop, the way we eat, the way we socialize, and the way we earn an income. We are entering what I believe and I call the cooperative age. And in the cooperative age, we need each other. We need the government and they need us. We need big business and they need us. And we as a society need to leverage our relationships to cooperatively help each other create streams of income. If we manage this pandemic effectively, the world will be a much more efficient and better world to live in on the other side of this virus. It is up to us and how we handle the problems that will determine if we are better or in chaos. I choose better. Who's with me? So remember, please comment below if I've missed anything or if you think that there are other solutions. This is David-T-Rosen. And remember, greatness happens on purpose.